Imagine a mind so sharp, so unyielding, that it commands a room without a word. It does not shout, argue, or chase approval. It simply enters, and the air shifts, ambition stalls, deceit falters, flattery fades, and rebellion freezes. Why? Because this mind is impenetrable, a fortress of clarity that sees through every facade with surgical precision. It is not swayed by emotion, not clouded by guilt, not distracted by noise. It forgives nothing, not out of malice, but because it is immune to weakness, a beacon of self-containment that paralyzes others with its presence. This is the ruthless mind, the kind Niccolo Machiavelli cultivated in the shadows of Renaissance intrigue, not to intimidate, but to control, not to harm, but to master. It is not cruel in intent, but relentless in purpose, a force so disciplined that obedience is offered without demand, a storm held in reserve that reshapes reality without lifting a finger. Society thrives on emotional vulnerability, rewarding those who bear their fears, desires, and doubts in a ceaseless quest for validation. Advertisements exploit your insecurities with promises of fulfillment. Social platforms profit from your hunger for likes. Cultural norms equate openness with authenticity, urging you to connect, confess, and conform. This is a deliberate trap, a system designed to keep you predictable, malleable, and dependent. The ruthless mind rejects this paradigm, forging an unshakable presence that defies manipulation. It is not loud or aggressive, but a quiet, calculated force that unsettles others by its very existence, a shadow that cannot be grasped, a mirror that reflects only what it chooses. Drawing on Machiavelli's principles, this exploration unveils how to forge such a mind, one that wields silence as a weapon, clarity as a shield, and observation as a blade. Through historical, mythological, literary, and modern lenses, we'll uncover why this mind terrifies, how it reshapes power dynamics, and how you can cultivate it to become a force that commands respect without effort, a presence that paralyzes without violence. The foundation, unshakable clarity of purpose. Most people drift in a sea of confusion, their goals shifting with every emotional tide. Pleasure pulls them one way, guilt another. Ambition drives them forward, fear holds them back. This lack of clarity makes them vulnerable, easily swayed by compliments, threats, or distractions. Their mind's a canvas for others to paint. The ruthless mind, however, is anchored by a single, unyielding purpose, a North Star forged through brutal self-interrogation. What do I truly want beyond fleeting comfort? Who must I become to achieve it? What am I willing to sacrifice? This clarity is not a fleeting dream or a motivational slogan. It is a disciplined commitment, a blade honed in the crucible of solitude. Once defined, it silences the noise of opinions, hesitations, and external pressures. Purpose becomes your armor, distraction your enemy, emotion your tool. While others drift, you drive. And this relentless focus terrifies those who cannot fathom such certainty. Machiavelli, navigating the treacherous courts of Renaissance Italy, embodied this clarity. His asterisk, the Prince asterisk, is not a manual of cruelty, but a blueprint for strategic focus, urging rulers to define their aim and bend all actions toward it, unmoved by sentiment or distraction. This echoes historical figures like Julius Caesar, whose singular vision for Rome's dominance allowed him to outmaneuver rivals. His clarity a beacon that unnerved allies and enemies alike. In mythology, Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom and strategy, personified this principle. Her calm, calculated presence on the battlefield more feared than Ares's chaotic rage, for her mind was unclouded by impulse. Modern parallels include Angela Merkel, whose disciplined focus guided Germany through crises, her reserved demeanor masking a mind that saw through every ploy. To forge such clarity, you must reject societal noise, cease explaining yourself, ignore the urge to be understood, and dismiss reactions that do not serve your purpose. Your clarity is a fortress, and within its walls, you are untouchable, a force that commands without begging, absolute control over emotional output. People don't fear what you feel, they fear what they cannot read. An emotional flinch, a smirk of pride, a stutter under pressure. These are maps to your vulnerabilities, handed to others to exploit. The ruthless mind is a blank canvas, predictably unreadable. reflecting only what serves its purpose. When provoked, it mirrors calm. When praised, it offers silence. When attacked, it reveals nothing. This controlled detachment is not numbness, but discipline, emotions harnessed like soldiers. Never allowed to betray you in public, you may rage, rejoice, or grieve, but only in the sanctity of your inner world, never when others expect it. This unsettles, for it denies others the predictability they crave, eroding their confidence as they project their fears onto your stillness. Machiavelli mastered this in Florence's courts, his inscrutable demeanor a shield against flattery and betrayal. This mirrors Cleopatra, whose calculated charm disarmed Caesar and Antony, not through emotional display, but through a disciplined facade that revealed only what she chose. In modern times, Steve Jobs wielded this skill, his piercing gaze and strategic silence unnerving colleagues, extracting truths they didn't intend to reveal. Psychologically, this works because humans seek patterns. When denied, they unravel, filling the silence with their insecurities. To cultivate this, practice deliberate silence, pause before responding, maintain eye contact without reaction, let others over-explain. Your emotional economy spends nothing, creating a mystique that paralyzes. This is not suppression but sovereignty, a mind that dictates its own terms. Instant identification of weakness in others. Machiavelli's greatest weapon was not brutality, but observation, the ability to see through people with a single glance. He listened not for words, but for tells the repeated phrase, the avoided silence, the need for validation, the defensive posture. These were not quirks, but cracks, psychological seams where power leaks. The ruthless mind is a predator of information, asking, what does this person crave? What do they fear losing? Who do they seek to impress? What makes them irrational? You say nothing, store the knowledge, and use it only when it matters. When you speak to someone's fear without them revealing it, they submit internally. They will bending to your insight. This observational prowess is evident in historical figures like Elizabeth I, who navigated England's court by reading the motives of her advisors, her silence a scalpel that exposed betrayal. In mythology, Odin, the Norse god of wisdom, sacrificed an eye for insight, his piercing gaze seeing through mortals and gods alike. Modern examples include Jeff Bezos, whose strategic pauses in meetings revealed colleagues' weaknesses without a word. To develop this, observe silently in every interaction. Note who speaks too much, who seeks approval, who avoids eye contact. These are the threads you pull when the moment demands, giving you control without a word. Your observation is a telescope, revealing the hidden constellations of human nature, and your silence is the gravity that holds them in your orbit. The removal of guilt as a decision maker. Society trains you to obey guilt. Think of others' feelings. Be nice, avoid harm. This is not morality but emotional programming, a leash to ensure you prioritize others' comfort over your own power. The ruthless mind questions every pang of guilt. Is this valid, or is it manipulation? You cannot build strength while apologizing for wanting more. Sometimes, you must disappoint those who drain you, ignore pleas for second chances, say no without explanation, and walk away from emotional blackmail. When guilt rises, don't fight it, observe it. Then choose strategy over emotion. Once others realize guilt no longer sways you, their grip dissolves, and your presence becomes a force they cannot challenge. This principle is seen in leaders like Abraham Lincoln, who made ruthless decisions during the Civil War, prioritizing strategy over sentiment while maintaining a public facade of compassion. In mythology, Athena again serves as a model, her decisions unswayed by emotional pleas, guided only by wisdom and purpose. Modern figures like Oprah Winfrey demonstrate this, cutting ties with those who hindered her vision, her clarity unshaken by guilt. To practice this, pause when guilt rises, ask if it serves your purpose, and act only if it aligns with your clarity. This detachment is not cruelty but liberation, freeing you from the chains of others' expectations, a blade that cuts through emotional fog. The cold internal motto, I am already Alaneth. Ruthless mind's core is self-containment, a motto that resonates like a drumbeat. I am already alone. Most people beg silently for validation, connection, approval, compromising their goals to avoid loneliness. The ruthless mind begins from independence. I own nothing, and anyone who joins me must add strength, not weight. This is not isolation, but a deliberate choice to prioritize self-sufficiency. If disloyalty or disrespect arises, you release without begging, warning, or regret. This emotional self-sufficiency terrifies, for others cannot use loneliness as leverage. You are a fortress, and only those who prove their worth gain entry. Queen Elizabeth I embodied this, ruling England with solitary resolve, rejecting marriage and manipulation to maintain her power. In literature, Ayn Rand's Howard Rourke and the Fountainhead lives by this principle. His independence a wall that others cannot breach. Modern parallels include Elon Musk, whose solitary vision drives innovation, unmoved by public opinion. To cultivate this, practice detachment, walk away from disrespect, value your own company, make your emotional availability a privilege. This self-containment is a shield, making you untouchable in a world that thrives on neediness, a mountain that stands unmoved by the winds of external pressure. The cultural evolution of ruthless mind is not a modern invention, but a timeless archetype shaped by cultural shifts. In ancient societies, ruthlessness was revered as strategic wisdom. Think of Sun Tzu's The Art of War which, like Machiavelli, prized clarity over chaos. In medieval courts, figures like Thomas Cromwell wielded ruthless observation to navigate power struggles, their silence a weapon against betrayal. The Enlightenment shifted this, equating emotional openness with virtue, stigmatizing detachment as coldness. Today, the digital age amplifies this stigma, with social media rewarding vulnerability and punishing restraint. The ruthless mind defies this, reclaiming detachment as power. Its silence a rebellion against a culture that demands constant exposure. This cultural tension explains why the ruthless mind terrifies. It rejects the modern dogma that equates sharing with strength, instead wielding privacy as a fortress. Figures like Virginia Woolf, who championed solitude in a room of one's own understood this, using detachment to create a literary legacy that defied societal norms. The ruthless mind is a countercultural force, a reminder that true power lies not in openness but in control, not in connection but in clarity. The art of social warfare, winning without fighting. The ruthless mind doesn't fight, it dominates through presence. Silence becomes a weapon, observation a strategy, detachment a force. Enter a room and say nothing, scanning for performers, the insecure, the approval seekers. Your silence extracts more than words, forcing others to reveal themselves while you remain unreadable. Speak only with precision. Every word must clarify, correct, or control. When others exaggerate, understate. When they ramble, deliver short, lethal truths. When they joke, remain stone calm. This contrast creates mystery, and mystery breeds caution, giving you control without commands. Machiavelli mastered this in Florence's courts. His silence a scalpel that dissected motives. In mythology, Hades wielded power through absence, his unseen presence more terrifying than Zeus's thunder. Modern figures like Vladimir Putin use strategic silence to unsettle, their unpredictability a tool of dominance. To apply this, practice the stare that reads souls, observe without reacting, let others over-explain, use their words against them. Your detachment is a psychological fog, a labyrinth where others lose their way, handing you power without a struggle. Psychological traps and strategic patience. Machiavelli didn't react. He planted traps to reveal character under pressure. Delay a favor and observe patience. Share a false rumor and see who spreads it. Go silent on a manipulator and watch them unravel. These filters sort loyalty from betrayal, strength from weakness. When someone crosses you, don't lash out, shift quietly, cutting access without explanation. They'll panic, wondering what they did, punishing themselves with doubt. The silent consequence is more powerful than confrontation, a chess move that checkmates without a sound. Historical figures like Cleopatra used such traps, testing allies to ensure loyalty. Modern leaders like Jeff Bezos employ strategic patience, delaying responses to create pressure and reveal motives. To practice this, introduce small uncertainties, delay a reply, shift from warmth to neutrality, disappear briefly. These interruptions make others second guess, handing you the upper hand. Your patience is a predator, stalking the perfect moment to strike with precision, not passion. The interplay of power and perception. The ruthless mind thrives on perception, crafting an aura that precedes it. Your reputation built on silence, detachment, and unpredictability enters a room before you do. People whisper, "She never explains herself." He cuts off disloyalty without warning. This aura paralyzes, not through intimidation, but through the fear of confusion. Your silence becomes exile, your presence a mystery that others cannot solve. Protect your inner world like a fortress, sharing vulnerabilities only with those who've earned trust. Let others project their fears onto you, unraveling as they try to decode your stillness. In literature, Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name in Sergio Leone's westerns embodies this. His silence a weapon that terrifies. Modern examples include Beyoncé, whose controlled public persona amplifies her influence. Every move calculated to maintain mystery. To build this, enforce boundaries with surgical coldness. Offer no closure, only consequences. When crossed, shift subtly, stop sharing. Go neutral, exclude without explanation. They'll torment themselves with doubt, their ego crumbling under the weight of your silence. This is not cruelty, but clarity, a mind that reshapes reality without violence. The existential power of ruthlessness. Ruthless mind is an existential rebellion, confronting life's fundamental questions in solitude. Who am I when no one watches? What do I value when stripped of external pressures? By answering these, you transcend societal illusions, becoming a creator of your own reality. This liberation terrifies, for it defies a world that thrives on your dependence. Socrates faced death with unyielding clarity, his mind unshaken by the mob's judgment. Malala Yousafzai stood firm against oppression, her resolve forged in solitary conviction. Their ruthlessness was not malice, but a refusal to bend, a clarity that reshaped history. This existential power is why the ruthless mind is feared. It rejects the narrative that you need others to be whole, instead finding strength in self-containment. It is a lighthouse in a storm, guiding you through chaos without needing external light. By embracing this, you become not just a player in the game of power, but the one who writes its rules, a force that moves the world by standing still. The ethical implications. Ruthlessness without cruelty. Is the ruthless mind inherently cruel? Machiavelli would argue no, it is clarity, not malice. The ruthless mind does not harm for pleasure but acts with precision to protect its purpose. It is not about destruction, but about enforcing boundaries, not about vengeance, but about consequence. This ethical nuance is critical. Ruthlessness is not amorality, but a higher morality, one that prioritizes self-mastery over societal approval. Figures like Nelson Mandela, who used strategic detachment to dismantle apartheid, show that ruthlessness can serve justice, not just power. To navigate this, align your actions with a purpose that transcends ego. Use your clarity to uplift, not oppress, and your ruthlessness becomes a force for good. The call to ruthlessness. Forge a mind so ruthless it paralyzes, not through cruelty, but through clarity, detachment, and strategic silence. Reject the need to be liked, the guilt that binds, the noise that distracts. Become a fortress, a shadow, a storm held in reserve. Let others unravel in your silence. Submit to your presence, and regret crossing your boundaries. In a world of emotional chaos, your clarity is your power, your stillness your weapon, your independence your legacy. Dare to be misunderstood, for in that misunderstanding lies the freedom to move the world. Become the unpredictable constant, a mind so sharp it cuts through reality itself, leaving others in awe of its silent dominion.